Alright, play a Goblin Guide, please. Goblin Guide. That's the one drop you want to play. Poof! Nice. Perfect. Hello and welcome, everybody. We are here for match 4 with the list that you see on screen right in front of you. And if you are not familiar with this list, then check out match 1, where I do a in-depth deck tech of everything that's going on here. I will not be covering that here. Yeah, we are currently 2-1, so hopefully we can continue to get a couple wins here and end up 4-1, as would be the usual. With Saga, I've been going 4-1 in many of my leagues, but regardless of the results, at the end of the day, we've been able to play some Magic, we've learned a bit about the deck and some of the card choices, and I will have some thoughts at the end of match 5 for potential changes and thoughts moving forward. But for now, let's just jump straight into the match. Alrighty, we are paired. Look at that. Opponent time. Are we going to be on the draw or on the play? On the draw. Play against Kerzad. Interesting name. It's okay. On the draw doesn't matter. We'll just have turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 Dryad, turn 3 Titan, kill them. Boom! What did I say? I mean, we still have to draw a bounce land for this to be a turn 3 Titan, but, I mean, this is an obvious keep in my opinion. If we want to be able to haste our Titan, we're going to have to get Vesuva copying Stronghold, most likely, but that probably won't be a big deal as long as we can, in fact, find the bounce land that we're looking for. And if we don't find the bounce land, we'll play turn 2 Dryad off the Crumbling, and then turn 3 we'll transmute Tolari West, hopefully, and get the bounce land that way. So we might have a turn 4 Titan here, but the difference is all the same, and we get an extra card draw here since we are, in fact, on the draw, so that's nice. Obviously keeping this one. A little annoying to have the Stronghold in hand, but other than that, this hand's pretty good. See what our opponent has. No discard spell on turn 1. Wooded Foothills. Interesting. Sacred Foundry. Super interesting. Monastery Sphere. Okay, so this is most likely Burn. A very good matchup for us. In fact, this hand is probably fast enough to deal with Burn, even on the draw, especially if we hit the bounce land. If we hit the bounce land, I'm not sure. There we go. I was going to say, if we hit the bounce land, I'm not sure that we can lose. I guess Vesuva copying the Slayer Stronghold is a bit of an annoyance in this matchup, but regardless. Actually, when we play Vestige and Tolari West, we can play Growth Chamber twice in our turn 3 and still have Stronghold up, so we can actually haste off a double Valcut. So we have guaranteed lethal on turn 3 here now, assuming our opponent does not just kill our Dryad. May not be a good assumption, but we'll see. This is shaping out to be quite the hand against Burn. Our opponent has got us down to 10, though. Another 2 bolts would put us to 1. I guess we would, in that case, be able to block with a Dryad, so maybe not you, Boros Garrison. Maybe not the worst possible thing in the world, but here we'll play the Vestige so we can leave lands in play. We'll yield here as well. Make that green. Play that Dryad. Unfortunately, we can't Summer's Pact out a Grazer here because then we'd pay for the pact and not be able to cast Titan this upcoming turn, so we kind of just have to wing it. I guess we could play Garrison to pick up the Vestige here and still be able to Titan and have Garrison in play so we could Vesuva that if we needed to. I don't think it really makes a huge difference. I'm just going to play out the Tolaria West, I think. I guess having the Garrison in play is relevant if we draw a second Amulet, but admittedly, we're going to kill our opponent with Valkyrie triggers anyway, so I don't really care. I'm just going to play out the T West. Try to keep as many number of lands as possible. Like, if we played the Garrison, we'd go down to 2 lands. We'd play Growth Chamber twice, play Titan, leaving the 2 lands in play, get 2 lands off the Titan, and still probably be able to get Valkyrie triggers, but regardless, having 3 lands makes it a little easier. Are we blocking this Swift Spear? Our opponent has 2 cards. If they have Boros Charm plus Bolt, and we take 7 down to 3 and be dead. Exactly. We can pact for Grazer and play Titan this upcoming turn without even needing Dryad in play, and have a blocker for the Swift Spear, Radiant Fountain to put us up to, I guess, assuming it's Boros Charm plus Bolt, to put us up to 5, and then our opponent doesn't have any single draw that kills us. So I actually think it's probably worth it to block here. If they Boros Charm plus Bolt us, then that means that we actually have a route to winning here. Searing Blaze, okay. So, I mean, we're taking some damage. They get to keep the Swift Spear in play, but our life total is nice and high, so I think that this will end up being pretty much the same. Sanctuary, okay, well, we'll play that one. Yeah, I don't see why not. We'll float some mana here, and I guess we can pick up the Vestige and Grazer that out. Yeah, that should work. Actually, does that work? Can we use Grazer to Titan here? I think we're 1 green short. That's awkward. If we packed for Dryad... maybe blocking with a Dryad just cost us the game. I thought that we could easily cast Titan here without having the Dryad, but I didn't realize we'd be green short. I keep forgetting that Grazer is going to cost us a green mana, and going up to 6 mana is not as important as having double green, so that's actually pretty awkward. This is another situation where if we could pack for Azusa, then we'd be just fine. So we're really seeing in this league that why Amulet plays 1 Azusa, which is interesting. I mean, I guess we're picking up the Vestige. I mean, if we don't pack for Dryad and play it, then we're going to have no blocker for the Swift Spear. So I think we still are supposed to cast a pact here. Either for Dryad or for Grazer. Don't think it matters which, really. I'm going to go with the Dryad. And we're going to play Growth Chamber after we play this Dryad. So that we can have the green sources in play that we need to pay for Pact, even if our Dryad dies. So, alright, we can float a red Stronghold the Dryad here, and pick up the Stronghold and play Stronghold for turn. Suppose if we pick up the Tolari West, then we don't actually need to have... I guess we're not going to be able to haste if we pick up the Stronghold, right? We play it, we have to get Vesuva. Okay, we can only haste the Titan if we still have Dryad in play. Whereas if we pick this up, we play the Garrison, play Titan, pick up a bounce, and get Vesuva copy the Garrison. So I guess it is correct to pick up the Tolari West here. No, we actually can't cast Titan this upcoming turn either. We'll be 1 short. Whatever. Definitely messing this game up all kinds of bad. I guess we should not have blocked with the Dryad before. Now we might lose to a couple of timely top decks from our opponent. Yep, no land drops remaining. Okay. Well, I mean, we got what we got. Not sure at this point if a Grazer off the top would be enough to give us Titan mana either, because of the whole green thing. Very awkward. I don't think at this point that we can afford to block the Swift Spear, so now we're just straight up dead to... No, we're not straight up dead to Boros. They don't even attack with the Swift Spear. That's great news for us. Okay. Alright, well, let's float this mana and not lose the game. Draw. West. Well, we can play Crumbling Vestige and transmute Tolari West for Summoner's Pact, I suppose. I think that's the best thing that we got, so we'll do it. I guess we can actually even transmute for a Radiant Fountain if we want to. And then play Radiant Fountain as our second land. That seems like it would be pretty good, to be honest. We'll do that. Gives us the most opportunity here, I would say. Our opponent does have 2 extra cards on the table. It's very possible we just lose to triple bolt effect, but not much we can do about it. Right, Radiant Fountain is the pick. We'll play it. No Skullcrack, please. You don't have it, you don't want to play it. No Skullcrack, no Skullcrack. Ugh! Everything is breaking out of our favor here. Well, now we absolutely have to block with the Dryad. And we're dead to any 2 burn spells off the top. No, not any 2 burn spells. Oh, yeah, any 2 burn spells. Actually, yeah. But otherwise, we get to untap and play Titan and probably just win on the spot, so... In fact, with them at 12, we can literally win on the spot just by playing Titan. Goblin Guide. Okay, so then now any burn spell is still lethal. Yeah, so here we just have to block the Goblin Guide. Yeah, I guess maybe being on the draw this game really costed us a lot. being on the play, probably we would have been in this situation with a much higher life total. Now we're just dead. Ugh, frustrating. I don't know. I guess there's something I did wrong. Alright, well, we want explosives for this matchup. And we want grazers. Elvish Reclaimer is horrendous against burn. Because it's very slow, and they can skull crack a Radiant Fountain if you go search for it with the Reclaimer, because it's very transparent, and Reclaimer just dies to all their things. It's just not a good thing to be bringing in all around. And, speaking of, I don't like bringing in Force of Vigor or Foundation Breaker, because in the absence of them having an Eidolon, which is not the worst thing in the world anyways, these things are just completely dead cards. They're not a Titan. They're not a way to try to get towards Titan, so I don't like the idea of bringing in Force or Foundation Breaker. Here we gotta trim a Bog also, just because we know we don't need this effect. And as much as I hate to have Turn Timber as untapped source that'll cost us life, it's probably better than having Bog, just so we have the option. Otherwise, we can just play it tapped anyways, so that's probably fine. Alright, yeah, let's send it. Alright, now we gotta try to win 2 against Burn, which is definitely possible. Burn's a pretty good matchup in general, so... Alright, we'll be on the play, of course. We can Grazer out a turn 2 Dryad here. We need to top deck any 2 lands or a bounce land, but, I mean, this is a good hand. Grazer completely invalidates their Swift Spear and Goblin Guide, at least for a turn, maybe 2. Especially if they plan on slamming Eidolon on turn 2, so... We'll take the 2 life here, unfortunately, because it is worth it to be able to play a turn 2 Dryad, I think. Especially if we top deck a land to play, in addition to the Garen Brig. They suspend a Rift Bolt. Interesting. Alright, land? That ain't a land at all. That's kind of unfortunate. Alright, here's a Dryad, and now we gotta pass. Ugh. Not my favorite setup against Burn, but, you know. This is where one Obstinate Baloth would have shined. Usually I don't find a window where casting Baloth is realistic, but if we top deck an untapped source here, or even, I guess, a bounce land, we would be able to pack 4 and cast Baloth in order to kind of stem the time before we get to Titan. And right here, Baloth would be quite good, but in general, it's just like you're casting, you know, 1-drop into 3-drop into Titan, and there's not really a window to actually cast Baloth, so... They Rift Bolt us. Okay. I mean, their ground creatures are never getting through. It's just not happening, so... Are they stuck on 1 land? Ooh. Okay, we might have a chance if they can't, like, unload their whole hand on us. Alright, here goes a Dryad and a swing for 2, because why not? Even if they just had second land, double haste creature, we can still actually just completely deal with that, so... Our opponent almost yields through their turn, quite possibly. Their other land being a canyon actually might come back to harm them as well. Bounce land is great here. It does not let us cast Titan, however, so, I mean, we'll just play this, pick up the Garen Brig, play the Garen Brig, and have Titan this upcoming turn. And now I think we might be pretty solidly in this game. I guess, if we attack with a Dryad and they go double Swift Spear Bolt, I guess we still don't even care about that, right? Alright, we'll swing with a Dryad. It's pretty free. In fact, it might be right to swing with 2 Dryads, as we're unlikely to die from 12. I guess if they Boros Trauma's down to 8. If they have exactly land triple bolt, then we're dead here. But there's literally nothing we can do about that, so... Let's hope that's not the case. And if we untap, we could just kill them with Valcut. We even have double Dryad to protect ourselves from Path to Exile, so... Opponent is dead. Was very close and quite scary, if I might add. But they're dead. And even an effect like Deflecting Palm will not do anything here, because it'll only prevent 3 damage from a single Valakut trigger, and then all the rest go through, so this plays around Deflecting Palm also. So we'll always, yes, always, our opponent concedes. Okay, that was far closer than I like against Burn, and that was on the play, and now we get to be on the draw. I say that like it's a good thing, but obviously it's a horrendous thing. Is any of these cards better than Turn Timber? I don't like Dismember at all. I'm actually not even sure that Explosives is good against our opponent. It's mainly good against their triple 1-drop draws, which do happen. Otherwise, Engineered Explosives is kind of dead. I definitely don't think Ghost Quarter makes sense over a Turn Timber. Maybe it does, because Ghost Quartering ourselves for a basic is not the worst. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But anyways, I'm just going to hit Submit. I don't think we want Reclaimers or Relic or any of the nonsense, so... Alright, let's just turn 3 Titan them. Well, we have Amulet. We have Grazer for blocks. We have Titans. Again, we're in a situation where we really need to draw a bounce land. An untapped green source would actually be quite good for this hand also, so we can get Grazer out on 1. As is, we can't even play... I guess we can play turn 1 Valakut, turn 2 Amulet, Castle, Grazer. And still be able to get Grazer out on turn 2 and not have lost a turn of tempo since we get to play both of our 1-drops. Then what, though? Yeah, I don't know. This hand is close. I feel like it's just close enough to be a mulligan, though, because if they have Smash for our Amulet, we need to draw so many lands. And we're also not doing anything until turn 2, so I actually think we're supposed to mulligan this. And this hand is much the same, but we get the turn 1 play, which I think is pivotal here. Do we want the Dryad or the Titan? I think we probably want... I mean, the Dryad or the Grazer. I think we probably want the Grazer. So we can play turn 1 Grazer, turn 2 Amulet, turn 3. If we top deck a bounce land that's green, we can just cast Titan. Doesn't kill them with Valakut, but it doesn't have to. Yeah, I'm cool with this. Alright, play a Goblin Guide, please. Goblin Guide. That's the 1-drop you want to play. Poof! Nice. Perfect. Land off the top. Summoner's Pact. Well, there's the Dryad that we replaced. We are rewarded by that, by drawing Summoner's Pact, of course. And here we'll play Grazer. Put in a Valakut. Of course, we're doing this so that if we draw a actual Dryad off the top, we can cast it with Castle Garenbrig, since it's an untapped source. Admittedly, all we want to do is... the best case scenario is our opponent goes Bolt Grazer, swing with Goblin Guide, and then we reveal a Simic Growth Chamber off the top. That's like the absolute best case scenario. Eidolon. Yeah. I don't know that we care too much about that. I think we're probably casting an Amulet into our opponent's Eidolon anyways. Crumbling Vestige also is Titan mana. We'll even have double green, so yeah, we're absolutely casting the Amulet here so we can get our Titan into play this upcoming turn. No Smash to Smithereens, please. Pass it back. And we don't have to worry about Path to Exile either, because we have the backup Titan, so... Alright, we see a Dryad on top. That's fine. We'll block the guide, I guess. Take 2. 14. Titan can get us a Radiant Fountain and literally anything else. I guess a second Valakut makes sense, since we're top decking literal Dryad. And then if our opponent Skull Cracks us, we'll be down to 9, I guess. So then they would have to have another Bolt and then untap and have 2 more Bolts. Or just untap and have triple Bolt or something like that. Since we can even block their creature. There's 1 Bolt effect. Oh, no. We already blocked. So we are at 11, not 9. I was assuming we'd still be taking 2 damage from one of these attackers. Down to 8. And they're not holding up Skullcrack. Okay, so I think we should be good here. So now the question is, do we go for the haste just to get the damage through, or do we play around Path and just immediately get Radiant? So if we go for the haste and we just die, and we get Pathed, then we're at 8, we take 2 down to 6, Double Bolt just kills us. And that is definitely very feasible. If we just get Radiant Fountain off jump and don't try to haste at all, we go to 10, our opponent could have literally land Boros Charm, and we'd still survive it too, since we have double blockers for these guys. So I actually think it's probably correct to just straight up get Radiant Fountain and something else here. I guess a green source, so we can cast a second Titan if we wanted to. Our opponent says GG's. Well, I mean, clearly they're trying to bait the path, bait us into playing into Path, so I'm still going to go immediately for the Radiant Fountain, and I guess Simic Growth Chamber so we can gain life this upcoming turn. Green source plus some life gain for this turn, ensuring that we can't lose And, yeah. I guess we could even play Dryad here if we wanted to. I think we definitely do want to. That'll let us gain another 2 life right now when we know they don't have Skullcrack up. So, yeah, this is just absolutely demolishing our opponent, and we don't even have to attack. Alright, here's Dryad. We'll take 2, but gain 2 from the Radiant Fountain, so it's a bit of a wash. And here, I actually want to kill the Goblin Guide and not the Eidolon, because the Eidolon is just going to kill our opponent faster than it's going to kill us. We don't need to cast any more spells this game, pretty much, so we want our opponent to take damage from their spells. Just the classic kill you with your own Eidolon play. You know. I don't think there's any literal way they can win this, so yeah, we win the match. Alright, well, that was definitely a nail-biter. Whew. That was way closer than it needed to be. To be honest, though, I actually love playing against Burn. I think it's a very interesting matchup, and especially since it's favorable, it's really hard to end up in a bad spot against Burn. It's a nice place to learn a lot about the deck and sequencing and stuff like that, so. And this is the second time in this one league where not having even a single Azusa has been just devastating. Admittedly, having an Azusa would incentivize us to play into, like, Lightning Bolt or something like that. And the situations where Azusa lets us get the Titan, they just bolt the Azusa in response to a bounce trigger, and then you end up having Packed for nothing or whatever, right? But recently I had been feeling like the Azusa wasn't doing much, and this is the second time in one league that the Azusa would have been critical. So, definitely a strike in favor of finding a way to fit an Azusa. But anyways, we'll talk a little more about that in the last match. I'll see you guys for match 5. This is Redface Menace, signing off.